What does this do?
There we go. We're just going to start the show since Joey pushed the button. Hello, it's Uncle Bing Bong's Can of Worms. Can of Worms. I don't even know what episode this is. It's like 5 or 7 or 6 or 7. Just read whatever the caption is. Just read the caption. You know what I mean? So I am here with Joseph Price. Yesterday he caught an 11-pounder on the ABS Wade Hoggs. That was the air horn for the 11-pounder.
That was kind of scary.
Yeah. So anyways, we're here at Uncle Bing Bong's, and I was gonna have an episode with Bobby D about spinnerbaits and the build and everything, and we just couldn't connect. And then ABS is here. We're getting ready to leave in a few days for
PCS show.
Yeah, the PCS show in Costa Mesa, where it's like the official drop of the bootleg series, the ABS Wade Hoggs and the Wade Jr., formerly known as the Snapper 2.0. So I'm drinking coffee. That's probably why I'm talking fast.
I'm drinking Mental Boost Rockstar.
Sheesh, look at this guy.
Lion's mane in it. I'm going to be smart.
Lion's mane. So, and I also have this winter hat on because I'm actually curated some more specifically for the PCS show. So I'm bringing the winter hat back. It'll be limited across front instead of this bass. The Charlie Brown style ones that I did. That was a super popular hat. So we'll have those at the show, and we'll have the calico bass hats there in a limited quantity also. We only do those for the PCS show, so if you guys get them at the show, we appreciate you. They're kind of expensive because of high stitch count, but that's always a popular item. We're going to have the OMRs. We're going to have some iRods. And then we're going to have the ABS stuff with some custom colors. So I brought Joey on because Joey is actually a part of Toxic, and he's helping me develop this ABS line. So me and him are brothers in baits and also really good friends. So this episode right here is brought to you by Happy Fruit. This is a real sponsor. You know what I mean? So it's not Hot Cheetos. It's not Cheese Balls. It's actually a product that is magnificent. It's a great edible company. If you want somebody that's very this is all they do. You know what I mean? They just make edibles. They don't have tree. They don't have all the other stuff. So I actually eat a lot of trap edibles. And I thought I could eat. There's like 50s and all.
What is a trap edible?
But these are hitters. If you don't know what a hitter is, Urban Dictionary. These are hitters. These are worth your money, So if you're at your local dispensary, check this out for real. Great product. I use it after I fish, or if I have to go into a public setting and I'm going to have anxiety. So anyways, what is a what? A trap edible or anything trap-ish. Also, Urban Dictionary might help you out with that. But that means it was bought illegally.
Oh, I know that.
Okay.
Like a trap house. I used to run one of those, fool.
This guy. I don't even believe that. But anyways, yeah. So we're going to talk about what's going on with the ABS Hoggs, our development of it, the beginning to the end, and the giant fish that Joey put in the boat with the ABS Hoggs. Even though the Wade Hoggs has caught giant fish all over the country already in his resin form, I was really excited because, if there was an naysayer or anyone that thought that the ABS didn't perform at or above the level of the resins, that's like the answer to the question. So, yeah, I always talk. This is Joey Price. He's a good friend. Like I said, he's a guide out here on the Delta. He's guided lots of people to great days, big fish. He's always smacking big ones. So I'll let him just talk whatever about the Wade Hoggs, and then I'll do like the story from the beginning, his story with the Wade Hoggs and how we ended up here, and then the show and where we plan on going from here with the Wade Hoggs and the Wade Hoggs Jr. and expanding the line. So
and the OMR. I love the OMR.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the OMR. It's a great bait, and he's a part of all this. But specifically, like, this is what I've been doing, and this is what I really want to. I'm really excited about being able to bring this out. So go ahead.
Yeah. So, I think, what was this, like 6 to 8 months ago, you were talking to me about you wanting to develop a.
Well, yeah,
kind of
it has been in development, getting it together, and then I kind of need a partner,
Yeah.
and actually, have two opinions is always great, especially since I could be so not single-minded, but like
sometimes you
hyper focused.
Yeah,
Somebody said that.
A little bit of tunnel vision.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
everybody
exactly.
does.
Yeah, for
when
sure,
they have a
for
thing
sure.
They do. But I'm not super creative. He's definitely the creative one here. But we did form a little partnership to come up with this deal and the Wade Hoggs Jr. to kind of go over the business side of this together. And I'm so happy with the way this turned out. I was never a big swim bait thrower. I started really fishing maybe like 2015 or 16, so not that long ago. Like I got a boat and started trying it out. In 2016, I met Tanner, who worked at Boatmasters at the time, R.I.P. I'm going to miss that place. He saved my butt so much.
Not
times.
Tanner. He's not dead.
No, he's alive. Boatmasters is no longer, though. But Tanner's going to basically do Boatmasters 2.0 with a different name. Anyways, so I went to Clear Lake for my birthday because I'd been there like one other time and we were whacking big fish. And someone for my birthday had gotten me a Wade Hoggs, like a normal resin one. And I was like, how do I even throw this? I didn't know what I was doing. And this story is going to be hard to believe. I don't have a video to prove it, so you're going to have to believe me. But I just grabbed I think I had one swim bait rod. I don't even know if it was a real swim bait rod. And I had what I use now, like 20-pound big game, 25-pound big game, threw the bait, took the bait out of the package, put it on, made one cast with it. And I was like, I think it's a wake bait, but it cranks down pretty good. So I threw it up next to a lone pylon, cranked it down, and 2 casts later caught my first swim bait 10-pounder, which is also my first fish ever on a swim bait. That was kind of wild. So I sent him a picture right after opening the package and throwing it and be like, this just happened. I actually thought I was stuck in fishing line until the head came up. So
Yeah, what was cool is that he came to Bass Fest and he looked at the stuff and he was like, yeah, that's cool, man, but I ain't gonna throw that shit. And then Tanner and his and someone else got together and purchased it for his birthday or something, so it was like in the boat. He casted it out, caught the giant fish. And I'm so juiced on this, right? Like that was right when I just met Joey. We weren't close friends like we are now. It's like a lot of that is Wade Hoggs has helped me. A lot of people like catch giant fish, but also open your mind up to throwing other lures or targeting fish, eating a specific type of prey. And then we got these ABS, and I'm always real stoked up. And he kept calling me like, "Hey, it's kind of good. Let's go hit it. Let's go hit it. Let's go hit it." And we were trying. It was early. You know how spring can go. It could go from 0 to 100 real quick. And then I was on the phone, and he called twice. I was on the phone with Danny. My business partner was blanked. And then I finally answered, and he.
I was just yelling in the phone, just.
Yeah,
I didn't even
and
know
I
what
knew.
I was saying.
I knew. What was crazy is I knew, but what was cool is that there was enough baits that like, what did he catch it on? But right now, you just have to throw the big shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my opinion. You got to throw the big stuff. You're not going to get as many bites. Whatever you're throwing, whoever's bait, doesn't matter to me. But just throw the bigger stuff because you have all year to throw the other stuff. That's just my opinion. But right now, you could catch a fish of a lifetime. And for anyone that hasn't had the pleasure of getting lucky enough to stick a double-digit fish, they're big. Now,
that was
moving from a 10 to an 11 now.
Surprisingly large.
Yeah, that's what I learned when I first started, like, oh, boom, that's a 10. Or, when you're really getting new and you haven't seen it, you're like, that's a 10, and it's like 9. There's a lot of 9s, when you put them on the real scale. But a 10 is big. But the extra pound is freaking a lot. And just 10 to 12 is so huge. But just even the step from 10 to 11 is just like incredible. So he called me and I just shot right over there. I was there within 20 minutes, and then he released it 25 miles away, making sure no sea lion. So it wasn't in the live well a long time, but I showed up and he pulled it out, and it was just like kept coming, and it was so big. And if you guys haven't noticed, Delta fish, this is my theory, like 8 generations, I don't know exactly how many generations, but from the F1s a long time ago, 30 years ago, and I say like 20 because there's been that many spawns, but I guess it's kind of a little slower than that. So wherever we're at in breeding and the genetics becoming homogenized, right? There was northern strains in the Delta and stuff. Whatever they've turned into, these tidal fish, they're like a cinder block, bro.
They are units.
Yeah, bro. They're just like rectangles, and 11-pound Delta fish is and if you look at it, it's like a young fish. It's not like an old, busted out fish. That 11-pounder. It
was pretty. No marks, no cuts, nothing. It was a beautiful fish. So
Mean. So, and then even as a bait maker, like, that the resins work and stuff, but then when you have a new bait and a fish of that caliber, they don't really slip up, That's why they get that big. Those fish don't slip up. You know what I mean? So when there's a fish of that caliber that actually commits and eats the bait, I'm really like excited, and anyone that catches it, I get excited. But like my brother doing it, and partner, and Toxic Gang, and I really just want to walk around screaming like Ocho Cinco or something obnoxiously. But so anyways, so when I started the Wade Hoggs, it was like the Delta is, I love swim baits, and I was throwing a rat. There wasn't a lot, but there was bluegill baits in the market that I felt weren't doing what they needed to do. Some of them just lost fish. I was talking about it on a podcast I did for someone else earlier this morning. Were just too big and bulky because bluegills aren't shaped. They're shaped so they don't get eaten, So, but the Delta was full of them, and you just started trying it, and the Wade Hoggs shape was what I needed. No fins, no tall belly to back. I wanted the open joint like the Wake and Crank because the sound it makes and the vortex, and you get the squeak and the whole deal with the soft tail. The soft tail just really wagging, and the first ones were weighted really heavy, where you could barely reel them. They sit real low, and you could wake them. I waked it because I could barely turn the handle, but most people were like, "Oh, it doesn't stay up." Our buddy Jack cranks them down, his original, to like 8-9 feet, and just smacks big ones too. So
and that's what you want right now. Before I went out, I was running errands in the morning and then noticed that the front was coming in. I was like, I gotta go. I just drove home and hopped in the boat, and I had to change this. Luckily, I messed up the front hook on the carpet, so I had to change it. And I was like, I'm going to put a 2X on here, like a one size up from the, what's it come with, 1/0 or 1s?
It comes with 1/0, but you put a 1/0 also.
Okay,
but the ST56s are big. They're like a half size bigger, I feel like.
He used to make fun of me because on the 3-piece, I was on a crank down bite, and I'd still have it every, early summer, like May. I'll put straight 2/0 on.
Yeah, they're just giant.
Just to make it go down. But I put that big 1/0 hook on here, and that really helps it go down. And, when I started the day, everything I had was like brown and red. And green. Brown, red, and green. Brown, red, and green. And I was like, this is the only white bait I have. And I was fishing around like 7 or 8 other boats. I don't know what happened after. Maybe the MLFs were one down there. I'm sure it's no secret. You saw the video where it was. But there were so many boats fishing in the pond and then all the stuff around me. And I noticed that everybody was slinging a white spinnerbait and just whacking like 1 and 2 pounders. And I was like, well, I want to catch something. I was just digging through my boat. I was like, I don't have anything white in here. And I found one. Oof. And I found one and went to the next little piece over, caught like a 3-pounder, caught a 4-pounder, had it ricochet off of a stick, and had one like maybe 5 come out and eat it. And then I lost that one. And then the wind really started coming in, like 25, 30. Rain came sideways. So I went to the back, kind of hid myself, put my rain jacket on, and I was like, I was going to leave. And I was like, I want to go through that stretch again. There's so many guys here. Like, I might as well fish it before someone else rolls through it before I leave. and I turned the camera on and I took the net out. I don't know what came over me, and I just started throwing the hogs around and made that cast. But what's so important about and what's so cool about this bait is it's not just a wake bait, and these new ABS ones wake so good on the slow, because that's something I don't know a lot of guys do. I know you're talking about a little bit, is you just want to barely turn that reel handle and it'll just
creep.
And they crush it on that for no good. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but also the Joey, I've heard him tell me what he tells his clients, and like this fish ate it, and like I've caught him, and I've talked to other bait builders that say like it's on the surface, and then you put those first two cranks, right?
Yeah.
And it just shoots under, they smoke it.
It's always on the crank down and then the stop. There's always like a pause that happens, because if you look in the video, I'm almost like leaned forward, like as far down as I can, because I want it to just shoot down, right? And I'm going to stop it and kind of dead walk it. And that's 98% of the time on that last half of outgoing tide, whether it's early spring, summer, or fall. Those fish are set up to ambush on anywhere where there's a little bit of water left, right? Because there's not a lot of water left in most places. So you're looking for little ditches with current, and those fish are going to set up in those. And your goal when you have those big fronts or wind or some kind of weather is to just force them to react. And this is a great reaction bait, crank down, because it just bombs downward and stops and just bonk, bonk, and they came out. The video didn't catch it. I mean, I wish I had one on my chest, but I watched the whole fish come out and just T-bone it. Unfortunately, like maybe 2 seconds in, when she was coming up for some head shakes, I realized she had one of these underground back hooks in the side of her face, and I was like, oh no, just one. But dude, those hooks are so sticky and just so good. They don't bend, which I really like. They either break or they stay right there where they're at, and they're really not going to break unless you're throwing a broomstick with like 65-pound braid and just like forcing a double-digit fish. Like that's not good. The situations like that are not going to be high ever. But I was just so happy with the way that hook performed on this bait, because it stuck it in that like weird membrane stuff, and it was not coming out. I mean, I spent so much time trying to get that one hook out. It was a
perfect spot.
Yeah, it was awesome. Everything went right, and sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't, but everything went well there, and that was really good.
Okay, so we've talked about his fish. We're gonna get a better video up on YouTube. This is, if you haven't seen the video, it's on my socials. But so Joey was like asked to be part of it kind of after I've been in development of this. So I knew what they were going to swim like, right? Like because I made them that way. And there's been a lot of different versions of the Wade Hoggs, snapper. People want this, crank down, wake only. You getting the bait in hand and fishing it after fishing the whippersnapper successfully, OG Wade Hoggs, regular Wade, all the baits, like Joey's throwing all the baits. How do you feel about these baits compared to the regular baits?
So I actually got a comment on my post, and I don't know who it was, but basically he said something like they've been seeing that bait for years and they're going to eat it, whether it's ABS or whether it's resin. And I couldn't agree more. But as far as I feel about like how they're different or how they're not, the way that you fish these baits, it's a wake or crank down, dead walker. Like those are really, and there's other options. I'm sure I'm not super swim baity, but I was able to do the exact same thing with this and the ABS Wade Hoggs Jr. as I could with the other ones. Like I didn't have to like struggle to do anything different. I took my same exact setup with my same exact line that I throw the resin baits on and put this on, and it performed close to, if not exactly the same way. Now, some of the resin ones have some inconsistencies, which I love. right? Because some of them come to where they kind of like just suspend there, or they dive a little deeper, or they stay really high. But mostly you're getting like a 95% just same no matter what. I mean, with this one, it's gonna be really, really, really standard as it comes out. So however you like to set these up, like I said, I mean, I'll slap a whole big piece of lead tape here, put a heavy hook on the front, and really, really crank it down. Or you could like put lighter hooks on, or put foam on the back so it stays up. I mean, whatever you want, and you're gonna get something that's standardized, so you know.
It stays up pretty well.
Yeah,
the Hogs is pretty buoyant. Like when you're cranking it down stock, it's hard.
Yeah, it is really, really difficult.
It's like a workout.
I had to get like a rod with some serious tip on it to really get it to go down. But this one is a tiny bit more buoyant, but you're going to get that from the plastic no matter what,
Well, just how I tuned it.
Yeah.
And then the snapper. So, I mean, we're talking about the Hogs, but I mean, the Wade Jr., the old snapper, we changed the name. We have to change the name. So I tuned that so it doesn't, so it's like kind of like a little heavier than the normal wake snapper, where you could wake it on a super slow, walk it in place, but it's a crank down machine. Like that's how I tuned that one to be. Yeah. Right, it's a little bit different.
That one goes super deep. I put it on like 15 or 18 pound fluorocarbon. I can get that down like 5 or 6 feet, maybe more.
I mean, average is going to be like 3 feet. I don't want to tell people.
I'm throwing it on tiny line to do that. So don't do that.
But the performance versus the resin version is great, right? I mean,
yeah, no, it's absolutely incredible. I love the way this performs. I really, really, really do. I mean it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just happy. Like a lot of times when baits change, whether it's a soft plastic, whether it's a spinner bait, whether it's a buzz bait, it doesn't matter what it is. The company change or somebody does something to change something, and then all of a sudden it's not the same, right? And you lose confidence, and that's pretty normal, right? Because then you're like, well, I don't know, this isn't running the same way on the same setups I've been throwing it, but I just loved that when I threw this, I felt the same. Like everything felt the same. I was like, this is tuned so well. You did so good tuning this. And I didn't lose confidence when I put this on the end of my rod, which happens so much. Like,
and trust me, Joey loves toxic and shit, but he won't throw it if it's not catching.
I won't. If it doesn't do exactly
he won't throw it. He's like, sorry,
do.
Bro. He has hell of toxics that he doesn't throw very often, right? Like, not very often, but he won't throw it if he doesn't want to. It's not just like, oh, yeah, we made this and we're throwing it to catch giants. Like, hell nah, bro. Like I'm a fisherman. You guys know. Like, we made it to perform, like I said, at or above the same level as our resin baits. I feel like that. Like, you know what I mean? I can't outbuild a perfectly scanned, symmetrical bait. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not perfect. So yeah, March 7th through the 10th, Costa Mesa Fairgrounds. We're going to be down there selling custom painted baits. These are the packaging that my boy Chris Anway did. Mad Love 2020 on Instagram. Really killer stuff. We're stoked on it. They have little QR codes on them. You scan that, you go directly to a landing page that'll have infographics and videos, tutorials. I'll build more, a bigger video library on the page as like a little bit after the show. I'm going to upload a bunch before we leave. But very easy. When you come to the show, you could grab one of these infographics. It's a card. This is the Wade Jr. side. Scott from Bows and Arrows hooked it up. This is the Wade side. Little bit of info that you need. Also scanners on this. So if you get the junior, you can remember about the Hogs. And we're gonna have those for the OMR. The OMR is breaking at the PCS show. It's gonna be it's gonna be killer. It's a great bait. So we're gonna have these also, but the main focus is really just dropping this ABS. So we're gonna have we're going to have,
Man, look at all
I didn't even show Joey.
What?
So we're going to have these smoke colors. It's like smoke and black with blue flake.
My God.
Translucent gill. What do you think about that one?
That looks so good.
This is another translucent gill on the hogs.
Don't show this to the guys in Florida ever.
That's what. Yeah, I kind of stole that from the Florida boys.
This is the tannic water killer right here.
Yeah. So and then we got tilapia. We're gonna have bone in both of them. The big one in the smoke blue, and then bruiser in the snapper also in a limited amount. So we're gonna have these as well as the toxic shad. Lots of the toxic shad, which is the translucent shad you've been seeing. And then we're also going to have a limited amount of bluegill, hogs, and snapper. The main release for the bluegill color is going to be later in the month, but I do have a few dozen of each. So those are going to be at the show. Available first come, first serve, and like we're going to be right next to John and Nick with Viking Head, John with Stay Bent. We're linking all the booths together, 2 o'clock every day, 300 block, like we said, 329, 330, 331. Come through. We're free giveaways, throwing stuff in the crowd. We got lawn chairs, ice chests. Come chill. Come hang out with the squad. You could just hang out. You don't even have to buy nothing. I'm going to be doing a lot of giveaways, Optimums, booths right across the way, which is always dangerous because you better hurry because I will buy the peg. When I was there last time, I just said, give me all of these so no one else can have them. So I would get over there before I'd go do damage.
I might do that before you do that.
Yeah, so it's going to be lit over there. It's going to be lit. And yeah, like I could keep going. Me and Joey could keep rambling, about the Wade Hoggs. And okay. How about this? I'm going to do a video, be on the lookout, with the recommended equipment that I throw the bait on, Joey throws the bait on, Phil Dutra, what Phil Dutra throws the bait on. I'll talk to my buddy Jack Ball, guys that have just really put in work with the hogs, and some customers have done really great with it too. And I'm going to do a video and on the site, and we'll do some recommended, like what rod, reel, line, and then our favorite technique with it, and it'll be listed on the site. But just for now, Joey, tell them the setup you caught that fish on.